feels good to be back.
Doing all these years.
I should ask you. You probably had better tabs on him. What has Xander been doing? I think he's just been living his life. We sure get the sense of it when we see him that he's been traveling and living his life without much responsibility at all, quite frankly. And his only mandate is to have fun at every turn and at every chance. He's a thrill seeker. He does things for the thrill.
Talk about thrills. How much do you train for it, and how much stunts do you want to do every time and insist on?
See, you know me too well. Because that's what it usually is. Well, Vin, we don't know if you should be doing this one.
Health and safety.
Health and safety. I'm like, come on! That's why I did the movie! Doing this movie and returning to this character was almost simply to have fun. To have fun in my life. You, of course, have interviewed me for several films, and my demeanor is different.
Every time?
Every single time. On this one, I'm smiling, I'm happy. It's reflective of the character. It's reflective and representative of the experience of the movie. I was able to have fun. I was able to smile and laugh again all throughout the picture. That was therapeutic, as you can imagine, and necessary for me at this moment in my life. I'm not gonna have clowns watch my back.
Who would you trust?
The good, the extreme, and the completely insane.
Hold on! So what you want, I got what you need.
Now that's a team I can work with.
How much do you insist on different locations as well? Because everything needs a sense of adventure.
Well, you know, we've talked about this in the past, about shooting in Egypt, and, you know, obviously you knew I was gonna shoot in Dubai for Fury 7 before I shot there. I love locations. I love, you know, taking my audience around the world. Part of doing this movie and amassing a global cast is, in some ways, hopefully bringing the world closer together. And traveling around the world does that very same thing.
Do you love to do movies that you like to watch also as an audience member? You know, forget the superstar you are, just sit down and get the thrill.
Yes. It's so funny, while we were making this movie, Sam Jackson said that very thing. He said, you know the thing about me and Vin? We like to make movies we want to watch.
And the whole world wants to watch, which is exactly the whole point.
God, if that's the case, then that's a success. But you should start with the movie that you want to watch. You should. I mean, that's a good place to start. Damn, it feels good to be back.
ومن فين ديزل لدنزل واشنطن وفيلمه الجديد The Magnificent 7 يلي شاركوا فيه بالتمثيل النجم كريس برات.
We need your help. We're decent people being driven from our homes.
We're looking for some men to do a job. Is it difficult? Impossible.
Let's start with the most obvious question I can ask you, obviously. But, you know, what were the prospects that came through your minds when you were gonna, you know, do a remake of not one, but two legendary films?
Actually, it had more. It's much more to do with Seven Samurai. When Antoine talked to me and then talked to Chris, he got me excited by what he remembered from Seven Samurai. He got me excited by watching Westerns with his grandmother and what they meant to him and how that made him want to be a a cowboy, make him want to be a filmmaker. So it wasn't as much, oh, they did one before. It's not like I looked at that one and said I wanted to do this one. And it had less to do with the other version of Magnificent Seven and more to do with the Seven Samurai, for me. You know.
Oh yeah, Kurosawa all the way.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I need more than a few to help us fight.
How many you got so far?
What I found quite exciting is that it's the right time to do this story because it is the day and age where the anti-hero is more interesting to the audiences than they used to be. We don't want perfect heroes anymore. We want relatable characters, don't we?
Right, that's right. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And these characters being, you know, not so black and white and a little more morally ambiguous, I think really is relevant to today. You know, I think that's the kind of that we do like anti-heroes as much as our heroes. And we forgive, like these men learn to forgive themselves, you know, people who do bad things when they, you know, they redeem themselves.
He's a legend.
I was thinking if you want to do an ensemble movie, better do a Western. There's nothing more perfect as a genre for ensembles, isn't there?
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Denzel, you were going to say something.
No, I was just gonna say, you know, I work from the inside out. So things like ensembles and past films and all those kinds of things, that has more to do with the filmmaker's vision. I don't look outside in. I don't go, oh, we're an ensemble. Oh, right. You know, I'm like, okay, who am I? What am I playing? What am I supposed to bring to it? And who are these people? And why are we doing what we're doing?
Quite a batch of strays.
You tell your boss if he wants in town, come see me.
Horse riding was a very big part of this film, and so was having all sorts of mustaches and beards.
Did you like Haley's?
Haley's had a fantastic mustache. She was perfect makeup. No, maybe natural.
A decent beard, too. I don't even know what that means.
So for both of you guys, who was the, you know, keenest horse rider?
Man, Denzel was pretty good.
Yeah, and Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah, Vincent. Yeah,
Am I saying it right? Is it D'Onofrio or
Yeah, D'Onofrio.
D'Onofrio.
Basically everyone but me.
And the mustache? Were you happy to be rid of it, basically? Well, obviously, Chris, not quite yet.
Oh, with the facial hair, yeah, that did all the work for me. Yeah, I didn't have to act. I just let my mustache do all the work.
Vincent and Ethan looked the most uncomfortable.
Yeah.
They had the most gear on, the most clothes on, and the most hair and beards, and
yeah,
No, you and I were neck and neck for the sweating contest.
Man, yeah, but yours was all black. Black vest, black shirt, black hat.
Black man, black boots.
Sweating, man.
Black socks. Did you, how many shirts was a day for you?
I'd go up to 5, I think, one day.
5 shirt days, 6 shirt days.
You'd sweat right through your clothes. Yeah.
Take the damn shot. I suppose that Undertaker's gonna get some business out of this deal.
It wasn't the kind of comfortable shoot where, you know, everybody was like kind of easy peasy.
They didn't have to come in and ever add sweat to anybody. That's for sure. But I think that's what Antoine really wanted. He wanted this to look like, you know, not polished. You know, these are men who don't get to shower that often, who are covered in dirt and grime and sweat, and you know, that's authentic. When you see us and we're covered in dirt and grime and sweat, we earn that by getting hot and having dust stuck to our face.
That sounds like a lovely prospect.
This is not going to end well.
How many men you say?
بعد البريك توم هانكس وهيو جاكمان بنفسهم بسمر سبيشال بارت 6. هلا رح نتكلم مع هيو جاكمان بنفسه واللقاء يلي اجريته لاحد انجح الافلام هالسنه، فيلم اكس مان الجديد لوغان وولفرين اكيد.
And you could have it all. My empire of dirt.
Always a pleasure to see you, talk
too.
to you about your films. First of all, you know, is it fair to say that we see Wolverine at his most gritty in this one?
Definitely. I think this is the most realistic, gritty. We set it in a world that feels real. I mean, we even have reference to comic books in this movie. The idea that what is life like after the battle? For a superhero, what happens when they come home and they just have to make a living? You know, what is the collateral damage of being Wolverine? He's a destructive weapon. He is fierce. He is extraordinary. Previous to this, almost indestructible. But in this part of it, he's vulnerable and he's trying his hardest to find some peace in his life. We got ourselves an X-Men fan. Maybe a quarter of it happened, and not like this.
If you remember the first time you played him, did you imagine a backstory that would lead to this? Because he's gone through such an emotional journey, it's almost like the character is different in every film.
I did imagine this sort of backstory, and we did look into it. I did a lot of work on the character over the years, but I don't think I could have even played this version of the character 5 years ago. I mean, I've grown with the character's grown with me. So this is sort of a culmination of 17 years.
Logan, what did you do?
Charles, the world is not the same as it was. Mutants. They're gone now.
The fans sent me some questions for
good.
you. Let's dive into them. First one is from Ibrahim. Would you consider playing Wolverine once again? I mean, obviously, you know, we know you might not. Even if it's for Deadpool with your friend Ryan Reynolds, who said that he would love the idea very much.
My timing is a little off there because I love Deadpool and Ryan, but I'd already decided this was the last one. It's, you know, it was time to leave the party, so to speak. But so unfortunately not. But he doesn't need me. That guy is just absolutely crushing it.
Yeah, well, that movie was great. It would be even greater if you were in it, but you know, your decision.
I am not whatever it is you think I am.
She needs our help.
Someone will come along.
Someone has come along.
What was the most emotional moment for your character leading up to shooting Logan?
I was nervous about it. If you announce before the World Cup that this is your last World Cup and you played for your country for 17 years, you make it to the final, it is nerve-wracking because not necessarily you have to win, but if you don't play your best on that day, it's very hard to live with it. So I was nervous. It meant a lot to me, and so I put everything into it. But I would say there was some anticipation really leading up to it, and at the very end of it, I was calm and relieved. Not dissimilar to the character, actually.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I will let you down. I will make you hurt.
From Brian, how did you came into the idea of auditioning as Wolverine? Was it spontaneous or were you suggested for the studio?
Yeah, no, I wasn't suggested. No, I was a nobody. I was doing theatre in London here, and they put out a worldwide search. So that meant basically every agency in the world got 3 pages, and every actor in the world put down a test. And I didn't get it. I was down to the last couple, or 2 or 3. But an actor called Dougray Scott got it. And then he was caught up on filming Mission Impossible 2. So you've always got to remember there's a fair bit of luck that goes into these kinds of things, and that was my luck. And sorry for Dougray, but for me, that was my bit of good fortune.
This is what life looks like. People who love each other.
Is it true that even Keanu Reeves auditioned for it and didn't get it? Did you know that?
I doubt it. I doubt he auditioned. I'm not sure. I'd never heard that one before. I know Russell Crowe was offered it and turned it down. I've thanked him for that.
Did you? I mean,
but he actually suggested me to the director.
Really? Yeah.
So I really thanked him for that.
You still have time.
جاكمان لتوم هانكس واللقاء المميز يلي أجريته معه لفيلم إنفيرنو بفلورنس هالموسم.
Professor Langdon, we need your help. 3 days ago, a man killed himself. We think he was part of something much bigger. There was a package in his pocket.
And what was it?
It's wonderful to be back here, though.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It's as gorgeous a city anywhere on the planet Earth.
Exactly, and thank you for inviting us. I mean, last time we did Angels and
It's not the
Demons in
same
Rome.
without you here.
Yeah,
It's not the same.
all of a sudden it got sunnier. So, you know, subliminal messages to Dan Brown. Next time, Petra and Jordan, great location, we all go.
On game. On game.
Yeah, it's
We keep testing him, and he's very tight-lipped about what the next possibilities are.
You send him hashtag.
Well, I just kept saying, you know, here's places I've never been to. I've never been to Petra and Jordan. No. I think let's go.
Let's go. Wonderful location.
Dante's death mask. Yes. We've got to get to Florence.
So, you know, what makes Robert Langdon such a fascinating character? I mean, not only on the page, but he's always been so cinematic
I
as
think
well.
that he's a man possessed, you know? He's either got the broadest vision of interest or the narrowest, I'm not sure. Because he is happiest involved in some brand of our search for arcane knowledge. That's what he lives for. I mean, even in this movie, he and the Sienna character talk about how they were weird kids. The idea of solving a puzzle or the idea of learning something about art history, architecture, theology, whatever, ends up feeding his interest in a way that I think, you know, his eyes roll up in the back of his head, hours passed, and it's, gotta go teach a class right now. Now, he's never been able to work out a relationship, and he doesn't have any kids. I don't know what the future holds for him. But for as far as, you know, the way his brain works, the way his brain chemistry works, yeah, it's fascinating playing somebody that's just as interested as he constantly is.
I have no memory of taking that mask.
You did? I just saw you.
I want to know what I'm involved with.
Why was someone shooting at you?
Everything is out of focus.
The films are so fast-paced, it's like a pressure cooker kind of thing. Is that the way you film them as well? Is it important to shoot them as fast as we see them?
Dear Lord, they're all sprints and marathons at the same time.
Yeah.
We do hit the ground running, and we really go.
Especially because you go to these real locations like Florence, Venice, you know, Istanbul, other places, and you got to get it done. These books, these stories are set in the most popular places in the most interesting cities in the world, and of course everybody wants to be there, and the local government will cooperate with you as best they can, but basically they'll say, you know, a scene that would take a day to shoot, they'll say we can give you 3 hours. Yeah. And so it's up to us to get it done in that period.
Well, we turned a travel day into a full shooting day when we were on the train back from Venice. So, okay, you got. Sorry.
Do you want to have a break? No,
we didn't want to have that. Well, actually, what we were doing is look, Brian said, what would you guys think about it, like, you know, actually shooting it on the train that day? And it was actually preferable, because otherwise you got to have a mock-up and you got to have it has to be lit a certain way. I said, we'll know the scene. Let's learn it. It was me and Felicity and Omar, and we just did it. And by the way, you know, you're on a train for 4 hours anyway. You might as well bang out 8 pages.
That's right.
So.
Yeah.
The professor has become a liability.
Go, let's get it.
There's always a way out.
It's nice to have you back, Professor.
What's the secret of the success of an enduring, successful relationship between director and actor?
Well, look, in all honesty, he's very demanding, and he gets the best work out of everybody. He comes in ready to go. He's indefatigable. He never gets tired. He never stops. He always wants a few more shots, and he's always asking us, what do we think? Is there anything else that we could do here? A lot of directors don't do that. Directors just like it when you say the lines as they were written and don't fall down. Then they've done their job. Ron Howard is always demanding more of us, which you know, it ends up making it fun and keeps us on our toes.
And it's you know, we're very like-minded creatively in terms of what we see in a story, and you know, wanting to sort of share what it is we like with the audience. But I love that collaboration. What he's talking about is what really fuels me, and you know, we have that kind of relationship, and I hope we get to do more.
I'm sure you will. Thank you so much. I now have to go.
I will do everything I can to find it.
بعد البريك بالسمر سبيشال بارت 6 مارك وولبرغ وجارد باتلر. خليكن معنا بسكوب with رايا. It's always a
pleasure to talk to you about your projects. I'm letting the fans talk this time. They wanted to know how much is the personal motivation also important versus completely changing and becoming a character? How much ratio does it have to be between it resembling you and being completely different from you?
Well, I think you can't escape the fact that it's always going to be you to some respect. And if it requires to be completely different, then that can be a fun thing to do. But I think it depends on the role. So in this role, I could, in some ways, try and create a completely different character. But at the end of the day, you're still going to go, well, that's Jerry Butler doing that.
Soon I will rule all of the world.
Set has an army behind him. Gods, beasts, demons.
You will bring them reckoning! Bow before me or die.
The fans had a fun question about the rituals that you would have if you choose a role or to choose a role. Do you have a specific ritual that you follow?
No, I don't. And to be honest, I'm glad that I don't, because I generally don't. Sometimes I have a rough idea where I want to go, but even if I have a rough idea, it doesn't mean that's where I'm going to go. Because like when I did 300, I'd said no sword and sandals epics for me. I'm done with that. And then I read that script and met the director and thought, okay, wait a minute, I've got to do this, you know. But it goes by the script. What I feel, the character, is it something that I find stimulating? Is it something that I find maybe challenging? You know, and even now today, when you start running out of time, you think, where am I shooting it? You know,
that's true.
I want to go somewhere.
I want to be home.
Yeah. And, there's some that you understand. Okay, this isn't going to be a fun one. This is going to be, this is going to be more challenging for emotionally, physically. You know, and you can. And you make that kind of sacrifice. Actually, this was one of them. It turned out to be a really enjoyable film to make, but there was a lot of tough times in this, considering what it was about.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Stay with me. We'll get you out of here.
The American president is unaccounted for.
Fans wanted to know if, those dramas are very appealing for you, or if it's, action films sometimes that you enjoy doing more.
Oh, listen, I love making action movies, and I love entertaining in that way. You know what? And at the end of the day, it's so often about escapism, and people go and you can just switch off and have a blast. But these movies, a movie like The Headhunter's Calling, movies that can actually profoundly affect people, as it did when I read the script, they've got to be the ones that I think ultimately are the most rewarding, because it's a journey of the soul.
Could you survive in those types of professional environments, like your characters, a shark's world?
Yes, I think I could. Would I be happy? No, I don't think so. You know, when I trained as a lawyer, I worked in a law office, and at one point that was my reality. Not that it was so aggressive. It was actually a very nice firm that I worked in, but just the corporate atmosphere. I knew I've only got this one life, and that doesn't feel that that's suited to me. I felt I had to go somewhere, somewhere else and say something else, So I fortunately got out ahead of time, but in some ways it's still the same kind of challenges. I think that then, something happened to me very specific, and I found myself one day later packing my bags and moving to London and becoming an actor, and it's kind of in some ways the same for my character here when he finds out that his kid is seriously ill. Everything changes. Yeah, turning point.
ومن جيرارد باتلر للنجم الأكشن مارك وولبرغ بنفسه قابلته بتورونتو لفيلم ديب ووتر هورايزن.
Can you get me a fossil?
I will.
I want to be able to hold it up and say my daddy tames the dinosaurs.
Pleasure to talk to you about this film. I thought it was very moving to see those people and their survival story, basically. So for you, what is usually the ratio between it being just a movie, because obviously it's a film and not a documentary?
Well, look, it's based on a true story. We want to make it as accurate as possible. There's taking certain liberties because we're condensing something that happened over I don't know how many hours, and condensing it into a 2-hour story. But we want to capture the essence of the people, the situation, and still make it engaging for the audience.
Hey, come close to the computer. Give me those eyes.
No!
That is a genuine dinosaur tooth.
She's gonna flip out.
You're a good man, Mike.
Those kinds of sets are really huge and daunting. So how enjoyable are they, or how challenging is it to be on a big set with a lot of visual effects and action? And
it's challenging more than anything because you're on a giant rig in the middle of a parking lot in Louisiana in the summertime, in August when it's extremely hot, and then it's hurricane season, and you're on a big steel platform. So it's challenging, but you know, that's the way to make it as accurate and realistic as possible and make the audience feel like they're actually there.
What is that? Is everything okay?
this is, at its core, a real family man who's very motivated by the presence of his family for his survival. How much do you relate to that kind of character?
110%, you know, everything that I do. I mean, I love my job and I'm extremely passionate about it, but, you know, I still feel like at the end of the day, I'm a husband and a father going out there to provide for my family and create a better life. And so that's the biggest downside of my job, is being apart from my family.
No, absolutely.
My biggest motivator is getting home to my wife and my children.
I totally relate to that.
Mayday, Mayday! This is Deepwater Horizon. What's wrong?
Towards the rocks.
Not Mildred. How much physical training are we talking about?
None. For me, obviously, I had never been on an oil rig before, and I like to know what I'm doing. So I went to rig school and spent a lot of time with Mike. He was basically my kind of guide and tutor and teacher about everything that had to do with operating in and around the rig. But you know, physical preparation, you know, Pete wanted to be as heavy as possible, so I was just eating as much fried food in Louisiana as I could.
Finally, would you say you have a ritual to accept a role, or does it have to be quite an organic decision?
No, it has to happen organically, but you know, we want it to, you know, to be a good piece of material with a good, talented filmmaker. You know, we're looking for quality.
Absolutely.
My wife's name is Felicia, and my daughter's Cindy, and I will see them again. Do you understand me?
انتهت حلقتنا سمر سبيشال بارت 6، والاسبوع المقبل اكيد سمر سبيشال بارت 7، وبيضل في اسبوعين قبل ما نعود بعد وقفتنا خلال شهر رمضان المبارك. بهالوقت دائما فيكم تتابعونا عبر السوشيال ميديا، تويتر، انستغرام وفيسبوك، وعلى Episode6 /Scoop with Raya.